warning before you listen. This epic is not for children, nor for the faint of heart. We retell the ancient Greek myths as they were born, unfiltered, unsoftened. Scenes of violence, curses, betrayals, and a hunger for power that shows no mercy. Given the many conflicting versions of the Titan War, the events have been rebuilt to complete the missing pieces. Here, we tell the myth as it was meant to be told. Sources and references are listed in the episode description. Chapter 21. From the War of the Titans, Clash of Weapons, and the Fall of Time. The Army of Mount Othrys, Warlords of Tyranny, and the Blade of Time. When injustice wore armor and raised a legion of stone, on the night the mountains refused to sleep, in a chamber where even light entered in fragments like grief, Cronus sat upon a throne, not forged of gold, but of the ashes of ages. His eyelids didn't blink, his chest didn't rise, but the earth beneath him trembled like a captive heart. That meeting would be the last spoken in words, what followed would be written in blood. Before him stood Hyperion, Atlas, Iapetus, Menoetius, Crius, Erebus, Crius, Thaumas, Perses, 9 faces of conquest, 9 columns of tyranny, each of them a wall strong enough to bury an era. They weren't soldiers, they were forces of collapse, each carrying within them an invisible blade forged not of steel but of purpose. But before they could speak, Cronus did. He said, "From now on the sky has no guards, we decide its shape. From now on, no god shall be born unless upon the ashes of a brother. From now on, only I shall speak, and time will obey." And then he rose. Not like a man, but like time itself, rising from the grave, dragging centuries with it. His body was cracked with regret, but his voice was clay struck by thunder. Cronus's power was not of flesh or flame. It was an idea. That when time grows angry, it neither warns, nor forgives, nor errs. He alone could slow the world until motion chokes, then speed it up until a blade cuts before it's seen. In his hand, a sickle, but in his eyes, pits of darkness that had never healed. The legend says, those who stood against him didn't die from the wound. They died from the realization that time itself had rejected their existence. And those who served him, they were not men, they were seasons, chosen to write the world's ending in the language of ruin. Hyperion, the first eye of fire, not just a sun, but a sunrise that incinerates those who come too soon. When his eyelids lift, distance burns. When he's enraged, daylight falls dead. He said, "I will not fight them. I'll bury them beneath a sun that never sleeps." His troops, sons of blinding light, wielding radiance as blade and blaze, as oath. Atlas, the pillar that won't fall, the one who bore the heavens and never bent. He knows no truce, calls no backup, every step like a mountain in motion. He said, "If I fall, then know the war is over." He summoned when all weapons fail, his army, bearers of stone, titans of support in siege, Iapetus, the bare blade of wrath. His arm is not muscle, but the memory of all broken things. His grip does not hold, it fractures. When he roars, bones shudder with guilt. He said, "I don't need a weapon. I am the weapon." His followers, collision-born beasts who don't threaten, they strike. Menoetius, the exiled lightning, once struck by a thunderbolt but never shattered. He is rage untrained, a grin bleeding joy, a sneer that mocks death. He said, No one exiles me. I drag myself from hell to drag them in. His warriors, banished souls, spirits that don't belong to the earth, but burn it. Crius, the architect of collapse. His mind is a blade that doesn't cut, it convinces stone to crumble. He plots in silence, planting ruin inside the nervous system of nations. He said, "Let them win first, then we'll teach them the pain of understanding." His forces, engineers of division, soldiers who make enemies destroy themselves. Erebus, the voice of absence, unseen, unscented, untouched but always there. Shadows obey him, and light fears his name. He doesn't fight, he erases. He said, "Every unguarded light turns into a curse." His army, masters of disappearance, striking intentions before they're born. Crius, the silence that stuns. He doesn't speak, he doesn't move, yet earth bows when he stands. He is the quake you never see, the blow that gives no signal. He said, "I won't march to them. I'll let them spiral until they collapse inside themselves." His men, silent destroyers. They don't shout, they bring ceilings down. Thaumas, the sea's first thunder, born of storm, raised by wave. He is wind that carries stone and clouds that crush instead of rain. He said, "I'll make their waters graves, and their salt, ash." His force, riders of the ocean's fury, beasts you don't catch, you drown in. Perses, the whispering flame. He doesn't scream, he rises. Each spark from him is a promise of ruin. He moves like smoke, kills like a meteor. He said, "I'll enter their chests as heat, and exit through their eyes as dust." His legion, quiet engines of inferno, burning before they're seen. Dolus, Cronus's spy, deception walking on two legs. He is the mirror that lies. He smiles, then steals your face. He doesn't invade camps, he builds them. He said, "I don't infiltrate, I fabricate." His agents, face forgers, whisper smugglers, doubt makers. They can even make lightning question its own echo. Cronus's soldiers? They are caves given legs, demigods born from rage, 450,000 strong, though their souls are uncounted. They were birthed in magma, fed on the sweat of terror. And when all was said, Cronus stood atop the edge of his throne, drove his sickle into the ground and declared, "One day they'll say lightning struck," but could not survive the blade of time. Then he looked westward and whispered, "I will extinguish you, like night snuffs out the memory of a dream." No one spoke again. Titans don't repeat themselves, and the sickle of time had begun to sharpen. This chapter of the epic has come to an end, but remember, what you've just heard is not a record of facts, but the echo of a myth, a story born from the imagination of the ancients, etched into the long memory of humankind. If this tale stirred something in you, if it opened a door to reflection or wonder, don't forget to support the channel and share the journey with those you love. And in the comments, tell us, which moment in this chapter struck you the most and why? We'll meet again in the next chapter of this audio odyssey through time. Until then, farewell.